Hello and welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is David Novak. I follow a YouTube channel called Park Rose Permaculture. I think she originally posts on TikTok, and TikTokers have their own way of doing things. One thing they often do is quote other people, and she recently quoted Eddie Glaude, I believe Dr. Eddie Glaude, it would be a professor at Princeton, talking about ICE. And I thought that I would share that with you.
ICE has become the largest federal law enforcement agency for one reason only. Its charge is to make America white again. And I think that's really important for us to insist upon. This is not about violent criminals. This is not about safety. This is about trying to address demographic shifts. Trying to address demographic shifts that disrupt a particular understanding or particular view of the American polity. And I think it's important for us to begin to report it in this way. It's not about Stephen Miller and his quota. It's not about Holman cosplaying Bull Connor. It's really about what is driving this immigration policy. And I think it's deeply, and I think I know, it's profoundly racist. And it's rooted in an ideology that's tied to, bound up with white nationalism.
That's absolutely right. Professor Claude perfectly distilled.
I will put a link to her video in the description box so you can hear what further thoughts she had to say about what the professor said, all very spot on. You have the sense that this whole action of the Trump regime, this whole MAGA movement, Make America Great Again movement, was from its inception not at all about making anybody great. I think that was the silent part, never spoken out loud, until perhaps now, that the idea is, as the professor stated, to make America white again, which of course it was never white, but be that as it may. I'm going to read some poems from an immigrant, our great American poet, Claude McKay. I have done multiple videos from this book, the selected poems, which I think is the ideal vehicle for experiencing Claude McKay's poetry. I have his complete poems, and when I read it through the first time, I thought there was just too much dross. It was mainly dross. And so I got rid of it and only recently repurchased it and have not done a thorough read through. I've glanced through pretty thoroughly, but not really gotten into the weeds of it. So while I was looking for something online, I noticed that I could buy the Dover Thrift edition of Claude McKay's selected poems for $4 with free shipping. And so I decided to do that, mainly to see what else the editor of this volume included that might have been something I overlooked. There is one poem of these that I'm going to read now, which I have read separately on this channel, but I'm going to read a dozen or a baker's dozen of poems, which are more or less new to me. And so I'm not thoroughly familiar with them, but I want to augment that previous set of videos with this, and we'll see what I get from this. I trust that these poems are worth attending to because this editor certainly thought so. Now I should add that this book selects from various works by Claude McKay. So songs of Jamaica and then Constab ballads. And I've never been a big fan of his dialect verses. I think because I do not have any, what would the word be, prolixity? I don't know. I don't have any facility with attempting to read Jamaican dialect, as the phrase goes. Now, that said, that did not stop me long ago in a play that I wrote from attempting to write Jamaican dialect. When one is a beginning writer, one has to try all things. As I grew and evolved, I decided that I don't care for that sort of thing at all. The exception when it comes to American poets would be Paul Laurence Dunbar, where he uses the Black American vernacular for many of his poems. And of course, Robert Burns, who wrote in the Scottish dialect. In both of those cases, I think you have a tremendous enrichment of our English literature. But for the most part, I don't find that that kind of thing works very well for me. Claude McKay, to be sure, is a poet who I think really came into his own when he came up north to the United States of America and then began to write, particularly his charged sonnets in standard English, as it were. I know these terms can be all sort of loosey-goose, but I thought I would read, as I say, a dozen or a baker's dozen of poems with which I am not super familiar, but just at a glance through them, I thought they are definitely worth attending, as I said. This one is titled Invocation. Ancestral spirit hidden from my sight by modern time's unnumbered works and ways, on which in awe and wonderment I gaze. Where hidst thou in the deepness of the night? I may have to wait a second. Shh. Come on, guys. I'll give it another shot. So, invocation. Ancestral spirit hidden from my sight by modern time's unnumbered works and ways, on which in awe and wonderment I gaze. Where hidst thou in the deepness of the night? What evil powers thy healing presence blight? Thou who from out the dark and dust didst raise the Ethiop standard in the curtained days, before the white God said, "Let there be light." Bring ancient music to my modern heart. Let fall the light upon my sable face that once gleamed upon the Ethiopian's art. Lift me to thee out of this alien place, so I may be thine exiled counterpart, the worthy singer of my world and race. I've often referenced the Max Eastman biographical note, which is a very lovely piece, albeit harboring a piece of unknown condescension, so saith McKay's biographer, Wayne Cooper, believing that McKay was the first genius of his race, and other statements of that ilk. So I intend to use this book as a vehicle for getting to know these poems better. The next one is titled The Dominant White. As I say, Claude McKay was an immigrant. He would be denigrated today by the current regime. He would probably be locked away. Most definitely the school curriculums would not want anybody to know that such a poet wrote in the English language, in the American vernacular. But he did, and this legacy will not be so easily vanquished, even as Stephen Miller's quotas will not alter the composition of this country. That is to say, it will not make America a predominantly white country heretofore, the dominant white. God gave you power to build and help and lift, but you proved prone to persecute and slay, and from the high and noble course to drift into the darkness from the light of day. He gave you law and order, strength of will, the lesser peoples of the world to lead. You chose to break and crush them through life's mill, but for your earthly gains to make them bleed, because you've proved unworthy of your trust. God, he shall humble you down to the dust. You have betrayed the black, maligned the yellow, but what else could we hope of you who set the hand even of your own against his fellow, to stem the dire tide that threatens yet? You called upon the name of your false god to lash our wounded flesh with knotted cords, and trample us into the blood-stained sod, and justified your deeds with specious words. Oh, you have proved unworthy of your trust, and God shall humble you down to the dust. The pain you gave us nothing can assuage, who hybridized a proud and virile race, bequeathed to it a bastard heritage, and made the black ashamed to see his face. You ruined him, put doubt into his heart. You set a sword between him and his kin, and preached to him with simple lying art about the higher worth of your white skin. O white man, you have trifled with your trust, and God shall humble you down to the dust. You blinded go, afraid to see the truth, closing your eyes to and denying beauty. You stultify the dreams of visioned youth, and in the prostituted name of duty, you place your seers with madmen, fools, and rogues. Their words distort and twist, despise their creed. You choose instead the little demagogues that will uphold you in your shameless greed, because you've proved unworthy of your trust. Oh, he shall humble you down to the dust. Well, I think we are seeing some of that today, except if we change. And I think we have a huge faction of white men, as it were, that feel insecure. And so they want to turn back the hands on the clock of time. It will not and cannot happen. So this next one is A Capitalist at Dinner. It is one of the poems that was not in this book that I have a recording of on this channel. I had come across it somewhere online. I'm beginning to wonder if these poems that I'm reading tonight were not excluded from this simply because they are a little bit more voicing of uncomfortable truths for the white man. Although there is plenty in here. Do not get me wrong. A Capitalist at Dinner. An ugly figure, heavy, overfed, settles uneasily into a chair. Nervously he mops his pimply pink bald head, frowns at the fawning waiter standing near. The entire service tries its best to please this over-pampered piece of broken health, who sits there thoughtless, querulous, obese, wrapped in his sordid visions of vast wealth. Great God, if creatures like this money fool, who hold the service of mankind so cheap, over the people must forever rule, driving them at their will like helpless sheep. Then let proud mothers cease from giving birth. Let human beings perish from the earth. Definitely, I can endorse that sentiment. Another longer poem, this one in 3 parts, titled The Negro Dancers. Lit with cheap colored lights, a basement den, with rows of chairs and tables on each side, and all about young, dark-skinned women and men, drinking and smoking, merry, vacant-eyed. A Negro land that scarcely seems awake, drones out half-heartedly a lazy tune, while quick and willing boys their order take and hurry to and from the near saloon. Then suddenly a happy, lilting note is struck, the walk and hop and trot begin, under the smoke upon foul air afloat. Around the room the laughing puppets spin to sound of fiddle, drum, and clarinet, dancing their world of shadows to forget. 'Tis best to sit and gaze. My heart then dances to the lithe bodies gliding slowly by, the amorous and inimitable glances that subtly pass from roguish eye to eye, the laughter gay like sounding silver ringing that fills the whole wide room from floor to ceiling, a rush of rapture to my tired soul bringing, the deathless spirit of a race revealing, not one false step, no note that rings not true, unconscious even of the higher worth of their great art, they serpent-wise glide through the syncopated waltz, dead to the earth and her unkindly ways of toil and strife. For them the dance is the true joy of life. And yet they are the outcasts of the earth, a race oppressed and scorned by ruling man. How can they thus consent to joy and mirth, who live beneath a world eternal ban? No faith is theirs, no shining ray of hope, except the martyr's faith, the hope that death someday will free them from their narrow scope and once more merge them with the infinite breath. But oh, they dance with poetry in their eyes, whose dreamy loveliness no sorrow dims, and parted lips and eager gleeful cries, and perfect rhythm in their nimble limbs. The gifts divine are theirs, music and laughter. All other things, however great, come after. That was just marvelous. That really reminds me of that ode of Keats, which I read here recently. I'm not sure under which context, but the one where he holds the vase and looks at it and sees the different figures which appeared before him as in a dream, or the figures appeared before him in a dream as though on a vase. The poem where they don't quite know the sequence of the stanzas. Oh, just marvelous. I think I'm going to have to revise my opinion about the Perfect Selected. It should be this book and then a final section of those which I am omitting here. And I have not scoured the complete, so we'll have to think about this some more. Next poem is titled The Little Peoples. The little, sorry, the little peoples of the troubled earth, the little nations that are weak and white, for them the glory of another birth, for them the lifting of the veil of night. The big men of the world in concert met, have sent forth in their power a new decree. Upon the old harsh wrongs the sun must set, henceforth the little peoples must be free. Excuse me. But we, the blacks, less than the trampled dust, who walk the new ways with the old dim eyes, we to the ancient gods of greed and lust must still be offered up as sacrifice. Oh, we who deign to live but will not dare, the white world's burden must forever bear. Well, I think Professor Claude did not express supreme confidence in how things will go for this country, but nevertheless, we have to take this bull by the horns and deal with it. To Holy Russia, long struggling under the imperial heel, some dared not see the white flame of your star, dimmed by the loathsome shadow of your czar. But men who clung to sacred dreams could feel some day you would put forth your arm of steel and drag the mannequins from near and far before the mighty people's judgment bar to answer for the ruined commonweal. Down from their high, dishonored place you hurled the cowed, incompetent, corrupted few. The blood-bathed flag of a new life unfurled, revealed your soul alike to Slav and Jew. The eyes of the too long submissive world, lifted in golden hope, are turned to you. Sorry, I'm not thoroughly familiar with these. Of course, Claude McKay spent, I think, something like a whirlwind year in Russia. But later on, as Max Eastman said, his mind remained in charge, in control, and he turned from the communist cause to whatever extent he had any part in it when he saw that it had betrayed the best of its ideals. Song of the New Soldier and Worker. We are tired, tired, tired. We are work-weary and war-weary. What though the skies are soft blue and the birds still sing and the balmy air of day is like wine, life is dreary and the whole wide world is sick and suffering. We are weary, 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 sad and tired, and no longer will we go on as before, glad to be the willing tools of the hard and heartless few, the favored and the stronger, who have strength to crush and kill, for we are fools. We will calmly fold our arms, sore from laboring and aching. We will not still feed and guard the hungry, hideous, huge machine that yawns with ugly mouth, performs its grim task of life breaking like a fat whore, coarse and brazen and obscene. Oh, to pull the thing to pieces. Oh, to wreck it all and smash with the power and the will that only holy hate can give, even though our broken bodies may be caught in the crash, even so, that children yet unborn may live. God, well, one of my poems in Sonnets, that book, the first book, it says, mothers give birth to daughters, not to sons, so that they don't feed the slaughter of the guns, something like that. But that's very much like that line, let proud mothers cease from giving birth, let human beings perish from the earth. I mean, that's not unique, that's not original. That trope goes way back, but it just jogged my memory there. And then here, kind of the counterpart, let us smash this machine so that children yet unborn may live. Of course, we see the machine today wreaking disaster upon the children of Gaza, the children and everybody else in Gaza, with a forced starvation as component of genocide. Battle. Last night I dreamed that in the deadly strife, where privileged power rules with ruthless might, I saw my body, a corpse still breathing life, trampled and mangled, a bloody, blackened sight. If such should be my fate, I pray it will come to me sudden swift, a keen sword dart, sent deeply through my burning breast to still the rhythmic beat of my rebellious heart. So I should have the grand end come to me, while following the only way of duty, and questing for the soul of truth and beauty. I'd go convinced that there could never be a fairer life for truth or beauty's flower, while earth is ruled by man's imperial power. I must say I am liking these poems. Negro spiritual. They've taken thee out of the simple soil, where the warm sun made mellowy thy tones, and voices plaintive from eternal toil. Thy music spoke in liquid lyric moans. They've stolen thee out of the brooding wood, where scenting bloodhounds caught thy whispered note, and birds and flowers only understood the sorrow sobbing from a choking throat, and set thee in this garish marble hall of faces hard with conscience worried pride, like convicts witnessing a carnival, for whom an alien vandal mind has tried to fashion thee for virtuoso wonders, drowning thy beauty in orchestral thunders. Interesting. Is he talking about Porgy and Bess, perhaps? Just interesting. No denigration upon the Gershwins, but marvelous. There's only a couple more, I think, and they have to be ferreted out from these later sections. When I have passed away. When I have passed away and am forgotten, and no one living can recall my face, when under alien sod my bones lie rotten, with not a tree or stone to mark the place. Perchance a pensive youth with passion burning for olden verse that smacks of love and wine, the musty pages of old volumes turning, may light upon a little song of mine. And he may softly hum the tune and wonder who wrote the verses in the long ago, or he may sit him down a while to ponder upon the simple words that touch him so. Well, that describes my life. I said years ago I knew that Claude had died in Chicago, and in the day pre-internet, I hoped to locate his grave and be there on the 50th anniversary of his death. It would have been a private ritual, just me by myself, and I never managed it. And later on, I learned that his body was moved, I believe, to New York. I've never gone to his grave, but I do hope to do so one day, and I am sure it is not unmarked. Even as, what did Keats want written? Here lies one whose name was writ on water, and instead there's this big monument. Yeah, this is my life. I mean, I've missed these for the majority of my life, but I certainly did not miss these. Just one more, I think. Oh, no. No, I take that back. There's 3 more. Birds of prey. Their shadow dims the sunshine of our day as they go lumbering across the sky, squawking in joy of feeling safe on high, beating their heavy wings of owlish gray. They scarce the singing birds of earth away as, they scare. Let me say it again. Birds of prey. Their shadow dims the sunshine of our day as they go lumbering across the sky, squawking in joy of feeling safe on high, beating their heavy wings of owlish gray. They scare the singing birds of earth away as, greed impelled, they circle threateningly, watching the toilers with malignant eye from their exclusive haven, birds of prey. They swoop down for the spoil in certain might and fasten in our bleeding flesh their claws. They beat us to surrender weak with fright, and tugging and tearing without let or pause. They flap their hideous wings in grim delight and stuff our gory hearts into their maws. A very strong image, that. Exhortation, summer 1919. Of course, it was the red summer. Exhortation, summer 1919. Through the pregnant universe rumbles life's terrific thunder, and earth's bowels quake with terror, strange and terrible storms break. Lightning torches flame the heavens, kindling souls of men thereunder. Africa, long ages sleeping, O my motherland, awake. In the east, the clouds grow crimson with the new dawn that is breaking, and its golden glory fills the western skies. O my brothers and my sisters, wake, arise, for the new birth rends the old earth, and the very dead are waking. Ghosts are turned flesh, throwing off the grave's disguise, and the foolish, even children, are made wise. For the big earth groans in travail for the strong new world in making. O my brothers, dreaming for dim centuries, wake from sleeping. To the east turn your eyes. O the night is sweet for sleeping, but the shining days for working. Sons of the seductive night, for your children's sake. From the deep primeval forests, where the crouching leopards lurking, lift your heavy-lidded eyes, Ethiopia, awake. In the east the clouds grow crimson with the new dawn that is breaking, and its golden glory fills the western skies. O my brothers and my sisters, wake, arise, for the new birth rends the old earth, and the very dead are waking. Ghosts are turned flesh, throwing off the grave's disguise, and the foolish, even children, are made wise. For the big earth groans in travail, for the strong new world in making. O my brothers, dreaming for long centuries, wake from sleeping, to the east turn your eyes. Yeah, I think these poems are just as powerful as what's in here. So I guess my counsel would be, if you have $4 to spare, to order this. Not so neatly presented as in here, not so sweetly subdivided, but still a nice compilation. Now there was one other one, and I must have passed it somehow. Ah, here it is. Poetry. Sometimes I tremble like a storm-swept flower and seek to hide my tortured soul from thee, bowing my head in deep humility before the silent thunder of thy power. Sometimes I flee before thy blazing light, as from the specter of pursuing death, intimidated lest thy mighty breath, windways, will sweep me into utter night. For oh, I fear they will be swallowed up, the loves which are to me of vital worth, my passion and my pleasure in the earth, and lost forever in thy magic cup. I fear my truly human heart will perish on the altar stone of art. So this is a selection of all the poems in this book, which I have not previously gotten to in reading the other. So this makes me want to take a harder look into his complete poems and see what else I can come up with. As I say, I know that his constab ballads and his songs of Jamaica, Kwashi to Bukra, and all of that, I would like to hear someone from Jamaica read them. I have seen nothing of that sort online, and were I to hear that, I might change my opinion about them. But as one who is incapable of even approximating, I cannot speak for them. So I will just close with a reread from a poem that is in one of the other videos that I did. Just another one of my favorites. There's a lot of favorites in here, of course. O word I love to sing. O word I love to sing, thou art too tender for all the passions agitating me. For all my bitterness, thou art too tender. I cannot pour my red soul into thee. O haunting melody, thou art too slender, too fragile, like a globe of crystal glass. For all my stormy thoughts, thou art too slender. The burden from my bosom will not pass. O tender word, O melody so slender, O tears of passion saturate with brine, O words, unwilling words, ye cannot render my hatred for the foe of me and mine. So with that, I will leave off. This just fell into my lap. This book comes highly recommended. So let us just reiterate that Claude McKay is our great poet. The Library of America acknowledges him. He was naturalized, I think, sometime in the 1940s. He is an American poet, and I argue he is our great American poet. contemporary with T.S. Eliot, but Claude's work provides a path forward in a way that Eliot's did not. And he has been neglected very much. But as I've said, this verse is not going anywhere so long as the English language persists. His work will do. Thank you very much for stopping by my channel.